We're talking about who I am. So I'm a quantum emotional. Basically, I created this modality because my spirit guide, who's very famous, many of you might know who he is, his name is Seth, told me that I have a healing gift, which I was completely unaware of at the time, back in 2006. And he said, Rocky, you have to create your own modality because the old-fashioned three-dimensional energy healing will not work as well if you train in those old modalities. He says that's 3D stuff. You're training in 5D stuff, and you're part of the 5D healing solution. So I created this modality after years and years of studying quantum physics and many other things. I also teach. I do workshops and webinars, and I have 4 books that I'll talk about later on that I've done. I've been a guest on over 80 podcasts and radio shows. I'm an expert in quantum sciences. I'm not an expert in the fancy science of quantum science, but I'm an expert in the quantum sciences as it refers to healing. I am a healer of all physical pain and all mental health trauma. So that's a little bit about me. So what are you going to learn today? Well, you're going to learn what are conscious energy science facts. 2, how do your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and emotions create your reality, pain, and trauma? How does the law of attraction really work? Because there's a whole bunch of misinformation out there, and I just want to set that record straight. How does a quantum emotional healer help you heal physical pain and emotional trauma? We'll get a little bit into the process that I use, not very long. And I'm also going to introduce a new course called Quantum Upgrade so that you can go from this webinar to a course that goes much more into how to heal quantumly. And here we are, part 1, the science of conscious energy. So let's get forward and let's get busy now and start with the first slide, which is the Big Bang. Now, the Big Bang is the creation of our entire universe as we know it. And here's a picture that somebody drew of the Big Bang. Can anybody please tell me what you see there? Anybody? What do you see there?
Energy.
Energy, that's right. Not rocks and dust. The Big Bang was a release of all kinds of conscious energy, the energy of God. So that means that you, me, our cars, our phones, this computer, this planet, other planets, the suns, the stars, everything was made from this conscious energy. And this happened 15 billion years ago. An explosion occurred and waves of energy cascaded out into the space we now call the universe. Scientists describe the universe as a sea of conscious energy or empty space. Now remember all this stuff because I got a little teaser quiz coming up, so try to remember this stuff. Scientists also call this sea of conscious energy the field. Conscious energy is like a giant spider web connecting you with everything, including our brothers and sisters in the sky. We're connected to them and they're connected to us. Now, the next slide is my most favorite scientist of all time, Albert Einstein. He was brilliant. There he is. And he described the question was asked, what is physical matter? And Jean, would you read this, please?
Concerning matter, we have been all wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter.
What are the last 4 words again?
There is no matter.
There is no matter. So 120 years ago, the smartest guy I ever saw said there is no matter. So today's science that deals with matter is really not true. So the whole world is made of conscious energy. Your body is made of conscious energy. You're not physical. You appear physical, but we're going to get into why that happens that way. So there is no energy, and physicality is an illusion. So I have for you here a great definition of conscious energy that was given to me by an alien group called the Arcturians. They gave it to me 15 years ago. I didn't understand it back then, but it makes perfect sense now. So Celeste, would you do me a big favor? Would you read this definition, please?
Definition of conscious energy: a neutrally participating energy wave which corresponds to intent and by which alters the state of electromagnetic particles.
Sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, doesn't it? Well, because you can see they're in colors, so I'll start off by explaining the first one. Conscious energy is a neutrally participating energy wave. What does a neutral wave, energy wave, do? Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess at what a neutral energy wave does?
Waits for intent.
Absolutely, absolutely true. It is in a state of waiting or potential. So this energy is just sitting there waiting for something to happen, with which is where line 2, which corresponds to intent, not thoughts, but intent. And through intent and energy, it alters the state of electromagnetic particles and creates the illusion of your physical reality. That's how you create your reality. Does that make sense to everybody? So the next slide is another quantum physicist, famous one, Dr. Amit Goswami. And Dr. Amit Goswami redefined conscious energy and he renamed it the following. Now, this is the easiest and simplest way to describe conscious energy. And he described it as the field of possibilities. Nicole, what does a field of possibilities do?
The field of possibilities to me would mean that through your mind and through your conscious energy, you can bring about anything that your mind desires.
Yeah, it's more the subconscious mind, but the field of possibilities means that whatever you now think is impossible, it's not true. The conscious energy is a field of unlimited possibilities. That means you can heal anything, you can create anything, but there's something that has to be added in order for that to happen. So we'll move forward. What is conscious? When I started studying all this stuff, I wanted to know in detail how things are created and how things are, what things are made of, and I got all these answers from my spirit guides. So I asked the question, what is conscious energy made of? And they said conscious energy is made of, very simply, electromagnetic energy. Now you're going to wonder why I said magnetic 3 times. So I'm going to ask you this question, and anybody, just like I say, just scream out an answer when you get this question. What spiritual principle is explained by this magnetic energy?
Is it the law of attraction?
Who is this? Who is this?
Wendy.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Bingo! Ding, 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 ding.
Yay.
So now you know, when you talk about the law of attraction, it's because you know that conscious energy is made of electromagnetic energy. It's not the same as what you see on the hydro systems. It's not the same type of electromagnetic energy, but this is divine magnetic energy, which is the energy of God. So the law of attraction works on this principle that this magnetic energy attracts certain things to you for certain reasons. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. So thank you, Wendy, and that was perfect. Now, what is the law of attraction? Wendy Ann, do you want to read that?
You always attract to you magnetically the equivalent life experiences of the frequencies of your beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Now, notice I said the frequency of your beliefs, not of your thoughts. Many people talk about thoughts with the law of attraction. They're actually not, that's not true. It was actually Lord Metatron that said to me, it's the frequency of your beliefs. It's your beliefs that cause you to attract certain things. It's also your beliefs in your subconscious mind, not your brain. So you always attract to you magnetically the equivalent life experiences of the frequencies of your beliefs. So if you want to take a picture of that or whatever you can right now, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people think that you can just turn on and off the law of attraction like some kind of light switch. That's not true. The law of attraction is actually always in action. The fact that your life turns out the way it is right now, whether it's good, bad, or in between, direct result of the law of attraction. So I'm just saying that the one thing you need to know is the law of attraction is always in action. It's always working. It's something you don't turn on. In order to change your law of attraction, you have to change your belief systems and do healing work on ones that are low frequency, that are not working for you. So let's carry on here. We're getting into the cellular vibration now. So here's the flow chart, and I want to get your cameras out and take a look at this. This is a life creation flow chart that I found a few years ago, and it's pretty simple. Now, the yellow box itself is your inside world, and the green box is your outside world. So let's start off with, say, I want to make $1,000 tomorrow. So that's the intention, is to create $1,000. And the first box it hits is your belief systems. And your belief systems have programs from your inner child and from your lineage that say, money doesn't grow on trees. What are you doing? So your feelings and your thoughts reflect your true beliefs. Your belief systems, major component that creates and blocks you from creating what you want because of certain beliefs. Your feelings and your thoughts reflect those beliefs. In other words, your feelings would be like, money doesn't grow on trees. I'm not going to get that $1,000. Who am I kidding? And your thoughts are, oh, how do I get this $1,000? I never seem to get it. Every time I ask for it, I never seem to get it. In your outside world, your words are, gosh, I hope I get that $1,000. It's not a positive reinforcement because your beliefs are steeped in old belief systems. You have the intention. The first box it always hits is your beliefs. Your thoughts is a little bit down the list. It's after belief systems. Your belief systems absolutely run your life creating program. And so the words and actions will reflect your true beliefs, and the results will be, well, maybe I'll get that $1,000 next time. So the arrows pointing to the side are of the language of creation, which is either fear or love, depending on the bias of your beliefs, whether they're negative about yourself, about others, or whether they're positive about yourself or others, is really, really important. And we'll get into that more. So if anybody wants to take a picture of that, you're welcome to do that. So next, we're going to get into something called the string theory. Now, this is a fancy quantum physics things, but I've dumbed it down, so to speak, or I've made it really easy to understand. This is about how atoms are manifested. This is really what it's all about. When I was young and I went to school, I was taught that an atom, and when you went to school, you were taught that an atom looks like this. Everybody's seen that before. Nowadays, scientists say that an atom is really made of this, a string of light. So this atom on the right is actually a string of light that has manifested into what looks like an atom. So that string of light is basically a form of conscious energy that responds to intent. So the bias of your thoughts directly impacts the health of each cell. The bias of your thoughts directly impacts the health of each cell, and you want to heal pain or trauma or whatever, you have to change the bias of what you're feeding your body. If atoms are strings of light and each cell has millions of atoms, then you are an unlimited quantum field of possibilities. So today, you're learning that whatever limitations you have on, and you're human, so you do have limitations, they're programmed, but now you can begin to give yourself permission to say, I want to reach as close to unlimited field of possibilities as possible. I want to be able to heal anybody with anything. I want to create whatever I want. I want abundance. I want joy. I want happiness. And through this quantum field, that you are a quantum field. You are a field of energy that is quantum already. It's just no one's ever pointed it out to you. You've never actually given yourself permission to be incredible. So, does anybody have any questions about that, by the way? Anything? Hearing none. Okay, we're going to do a quick recap. So all of you turn on your mics, please. Everybody, now everybody answer these questions. It covers what we've covered so far. Here's the first question. The universe is made entirely out of
conscious energy.
Very good. Your body is not
Physical.
right. It is 100%. Yes. Well, it was a previous slide, and I remember I said you remember this, but it is 100% empty space. Yes. Your body contains trillions of
Atoms.
atoms. Very good. Each atom is made from a
String of light.
yes, very good. Your body is a magical quantum field of
Possibilities.
yay. If your body is a field of possibilities, then you can heal and create anything you want if you
Believe it.
Believe it.
yes, absolutely. So here's some more some questions, questions. And just see if you can answer. The first one's a tricky question, so watch out. I'm playing a trick on you here. So how do you activate the law of attraction?
You don't, it's always working.
Thank you. Well done. Why do the words you speak matter so much when creating the life you want?
Because of the intent that you put behind it.
Absolutely. The words you speak must match what you're trying to create. Exactly. So a lot of us have learned a certain language in our life, no fault of your own. You just grew up in a family that talked a certain way, and you experienced life a certain way, and you spoke a certain way. Many of those words you speak actually have energy that is not serving you. It's de-empowering you. So we're going to get into that in a bit. Einstein said, nothing is physical. Everything is energy. What does that mean?
That there is no such thing as matter.
That's correct, yes. There's no such thing as matter. So matter is an illusion. It is an energy that is transformed into something physical. The bias of your thoughts, of course, like above in the question above, determines what that will look like or feel like. Here's a good one. What does it mean in today's timeline to love yourself? I'd like everybody to throw in a comment about that, please. Everybody.
To believe in my potential.
That's part of it. Yes. Absolutely. What else? There's an aspect to loving yourself that is kind of counterintuitive that I would like to talk about. When you're doing healing, what are you doing?
Accepting yourself?
Yes, that's part of it, but there's something else that you're doing as well. Very important to distinguish it, because to love yourself.
Well, if everything comes from love or fear, by loving yourself, you know you're in a state of love, a state of believing you're in the right frequency, the right alignment. Am I saying that correctly?
You are. There's one more aspect of loving yourself that I'd like to cover today, though. And I'll share it with you now. Every time you do healing work and release belief systems that are keeping you in a prison or thinking small, or what, the release of these programs is an act of loving yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the work that I do, is I help you release belief systems that are not serving you anymore. And in doing so, you naturally raise your vibrations to a new level, which is stabilized at that level. So that's what it means in today's timeline, especially these days, because there's so much energy. The universe is literally taking every one of you and squeezing all your old 3D beliefs and lives and feelings and experiences out of you to prepare you for entry into 5D. All right, here's the next slide. This is, how does conscious energy manifest your reality? This is a simple slide. This yellow section is you, the quantum field of possibilities. Your body has two major components that are responsible for creating your daily life, both good and bad. The first one we've talked about, it's energy, conscious energy. Does anybody want to take a guess at what we call the second one? What do you mix with energy to create your reality? Anybody?
Beliefs?
Yes, but I call it information. So this information is very important. So my question, when I first learned this, my question was, what kind of information are we talking about here? So I wanted to go deeper and deeper into it. I wanted to understand it all. So when we're talking about information, we're talking about what kind of information? We're talking about emotional information and core belief programming. Now, if I was to take every single feeling you've ever had and put it under one of two categories, all the things you felt, everything you've ever felt, and put it under two categories, what would those two categories be called? Anybody? How about love and fear? So love and fear, if you take everything you've ever experienced, it'll fall under one or the other. When I'm working, so love and fear, there's an interesting aspect to love and fear. And as a healer, I know this and I had to learn this. I had to be clear on it. And the question is, which one of these is real and which one is not? Just shout out your answers.
Love is real,
Fear is
fear is
real.
not.
So I'm sorry, somebody said fear is real?
No, love is real, fear is not.
Okay,
Yes, we spoke at the same time, but I was saying fear is not real.
that's correct. Now, love is the only energy that's real because you're an angel of God. You're a ball of love, but you have learned to program on top of that love um, belief systems and information that is fear-based. So when I do a healing work, like when I heal somebody's migraine headache, which I do a lot, I help them release the fear that they're now believing in or living or reliving. I help them release that fear, and suddenly and magically their headache disappears as if it was never there. So that proved to me that everything is love and fear is an illusion. So it's important to remember that love is the only thing that's real. Fear is something we can choose to release. More than fear, any kind of belief that is damaging to your self-worth, to your self-value, to being supported, to being heard, all these things that women value so much. So you probably all have heard this before. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And so that's a good way to remember that fear is not real. Now, when I'm working with clients, I like to refer it to as worthiness and unworthiness. My spirit guides told me that most humans have a very large percentage of unworthiness in their body. It's not your fault. It's a product of the fear of how this planet has been operating for thousands of years. And when we talk about worthiness and unworthiness, I like to refer to it as worthiness is things like inner peace, freedom, joy, abundance, intimacy, and confidence. And unworthiness is anger, guilt, judgment, shame, resentment, scarcity. For example, has anybody experienced all the things in red?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. And so how did all those things make you feel? Just talk about it a little bit. When you're angry, when you're guilty, when you're in judgment, when you're have shame, when you're resentful, if you are in scarcity, how do those things make you feel?
not right.
Dense, dense and heavy.
Thank you. That's a good answer. Dense and heavy. That's a very good answer, because of course it's self-judgment, and they're all energies of a lower frequency, which you are choosing to be in that moment because you're simply reacting, or you're reacting to an inner child that's still wounded. You're reacting to lineage from your parental upgrowing and their teaching, but you're mostly reacting to the patriarchal mindset, which is a male mindset, which has dominated women for thousands of years. And as women, you all know that that this particular energy, the patriarchal mindset, has not been a benefit to you, and you are different than the patriarchal mindset, but you, in many ways, you have to follow the patriarchal mindset in order to just live your day-to-day life and do a job and go to work and all these different things. But today I'm going to teach you some things you can do to completely free yourself from the patriarchal mindset. Does that sound good to you?
Yes.
Good. Now, I'm going to show you one particular program that most women have that is insidious and is de-empowering and it's not good for you. It's a program you can choose today, and I'll tell you how to release it. And let's see now. Jean, would you read this, please?
Most insidious pain creating program in women. I give my love away to everyone in the hopes of getting some back in return.
How does that feel to everyone here? Please, everyone have a shot at this. I give my love away to everyone in the hopes of getting some back in return. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I think a lot of people are, if they don't love themselves enough, they're giving it away because they're hoping to get some back because they can't find it within themselves to love themselves. So they're seeking it on the outside rather than the inside.
Ultimately, that's true. But women very much are programmed to be nurturers and caretakers and soft and gentle that way. And they're taught to give their love away and subconsciously giving their love away to everyone in the hope of getting some back in return instead of learning to love themselves first. Did I say first? What I meant to say was love themselves first before they do any kind of giving away of their love. In fact, I'm teaching women these days to love themselves infinitely and loving yourself infinitely. Stop giving away your love and let people experience the real you, which is the love radiating from your body. Let them come up to you and ask you, how is it that you are so happy, so joyous, so friendly, so it feels good to be near you? And you can tell them, I've learned how to love myself first, and I don't really give my love away to anyone, except for the very special people who honor and respect and love me the way I deserve. So anybody want to comment on that? Because women go through this a lot. Any thoughts on that?
So when someone asks you, me, whomever, about your happiness and you come, I would say, loving myself first allows me to be happy and share my love. So if they ask, like, how do you do that?
Right.
For them to Rocky.
Well, I would say that you are already an expert, that you know how to love yourself first. Now that's the trick.
I do.
Yes, excellent. When you give yourself love first, rather than thinking, a lot of women just automatically go into giving away their love to everybody mode. And they're giving their power away is basically what they're doing. So it's a program that has been around for a long, long time, and women are learning that they're worth more now. They're worth more, and the best way to do self-value and self-worth is to love yourself more and to love yourself infinitely. So we'll get into that a little bit in the slides. Now here's a very interesting study from Stanford University. This is what the average human belief system looks like in our world today. I don't know how they did this study, but they did, and it was fantastic. So they discovered that the human belief system has fear and ego and love. Between 0 and 100, what do you think fear number was in the average human being? Between 0 and 100.
76.
36, did you say?
76.
76. Anybody else? Anybody else? Just shout out a number, please.
50.
50, okay. Anybody else? Just shout out a number.
60.
Okay. Interesting. What these scientists discovered was the average person's fear and ego was 80%, which means that their love where they were operating on 20% love. So think about that just for a second. Just let that settle in. You got 20% love, and you're trying to run your life with 80% of negative programming running in the background. No wonder we struggle. No wonder we create stress. No wonder we get sick. So the solution is to release the fear and ego as much as we can. You're never going to get rid of it all, but the more you let go and the more you heal, the higher your love quotient, your love percentage is. And so you start creating a better life that way, because the law of attraction, if you're more love, you're going to attract more wonderful things in your life, including a partner and money and things that you really want. So here's a trick question. Once again, it's a trick question. So I'll just lay it out to you. Please shout out your answers to this question.
Should be the other way up, shouldn't it?
Say it again.
It should be the other way up, because fear and ego is heavier than love.
Right. Well, the 80%'s on top. Why did I put 80% on top? Am I just the world's worst graphic artist, or did I do it for a reason? And you've already got the answer to this in a former slide. Why is the fear and ego the 80% on top of the scale? You're going to laugh when I tell you the answer.
Because more people believe that than the other one, than love.
That's kind of true, but the answer is simply the fear and ego doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. The only thing that's real is the 20% love. Therefore, the scale is tilted towards the 20% love, because that's all that's real. So the fear and ego is something that this study discovered is what constitutes so much programming in your subconscious mind, which is ultimately running your life. So we want to raise the love percentage in your body certainly by loving yourself first, by considering that you're a woman and you deserve to be valued and heard and supported and loved, and all these things. And so anything other than those kind of experiences, you're simply going to not deal with. And we'll talk about that a little bit in a second here. So the next slide is Dr. Bruce Lipton. How many of you have heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the next slide is Dr. Bruce Lipton, and of course, he's an emotional science researcher. He's a DNA expert. He wrote a book called The Biology of Beliefs. He said the following, and so Celeste, would you please read this, please?
The major problem is that people are aware of their conscious beliefs and behaviors, but not aware of their subconscious beliefs and behaviors. Most people don't even acknowledge that their subconscious mind is at play, when the fact is that the subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind, and that we operate 95 to 99% of our lives from the subconscious mind.
So our world is bombarding us with lies about the power of the brain. You hear about this all the time from all kinds of people. You gotta use your brain for this. You gotta use the power of your brain. The brain constitutes approximately and creates approximately 3% of your reality. 3%. Your subconscious mind creates and runs 97% of your reality. So when you're doing healing work, And when you're creating what you want, our focus now is away from the brain and into the subconscious mind, which is what meditation is all about. Oh, goodness. So it's important to know that the subconscious mind is at play, and it's a million times more powerful than the conscious mind. So today, give yourself permission to let go of the brain, the mind being where you create your reality, and start thinking in terms of the subconscious mind, the truth of where you create your reality, and you'll find that you can make changes very easily. Now, here's an interesting slide. I love this picture. It's so apropos. The inner child exists in all of you, and it's always there. And here's an interesting stat about the inner child. Jean, you want to read that?
Let me introduce to you to your inner child. 85% of your programs running in your adult body today were downloaded into your cellular body before you were 8 years old, the inner child.
So that means every one of us adults are walking around with 85% of our program running in our body that was formulated and downloaded into your body before you were 8 years old. So if you ever wonder why people act childish in certain circumstances, now you know why, because that's their programming. Their inner child is lashing out or speaking out or whatever. So 85%, that's a very large percentage of your programs running in your adult body today. It just gives you food for thought how important to bring your child into your being and create awareness with your inner child through the healing process, and allow that inner child to be free from whatever issues it had when you were young. Now, here's an interesting question. I'll ask each one of you to answer this. Each one of you, please. What parental programming would you like to release forever that you know you downloaded from your parents that you don't want? Just shout out answers.
Feeling unworthy.
And who taught you that?
I don't think I was taught, but I think it was unconsciously, because it just says there that we're running on programs that come from our inner child. Unconsciously, the parents feed us that. And also the theory that it's also from being in the belly of our parents, also, that we get passed on certain things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is the inner child, it is lineage that you have learned as part of your agreement to live this life, to take on your parental programming, their beliefs and language of how they see life. So can you repeat what you said? They said it's not good enough, or what did you say again?
I said feeling unworthy.
Feeling unworthy, yes. So that's one program. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Celeste?
Not about this specifically.
Okay. Nicole, do you have anything that you learned from your parents that you realize that you're following in their footsteps as you move on in life?
No, the only thing I really released when I was working on the inner child was feeling invisible.
Okay, that's a very good one. Feeling invisible, being heard, not being valued, and not feeling wanted, all these different feelings, and they tend to linger on until you do your healing. So that's a good one as well. The scarcity is another really famous one that some people have from their parental programming. Control is another one. Judgment is another one. You know, I certainly learned a lot of really bad things from my father, and he was very, very judgmental, and I used to say he hated everybody equally, but you know, I had to come a long ways from letting go of all those types of programming that I learned from him. So that's a little bit about the inner child, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in a second.
I do want to actually piggyback on that,
Okay.
something you said, which is the scarcity. And that was generations deep
Yes, it
from
usually is.
Depression era.
Yes.
That
So,
just struck me.
yes, good. Scarcity is very much a program that is downloaded into you, and even though you feel somewhat worthy of more money, or you're certainly strongly desiring more money or more abundance, the harder you try, the behinder you get, because that programming is there. So we got to identify it and help you release it and reprogram your subconscious mind to a higher frequency of worthiness to receive more money without high stress. Part 3, the inward journey. Common scripts, beliefs, programs that de-empower women. Now here is a definition of the divine feminine. Please, please, please let me know what you think about this, please. The empowered divine feminine. Number 1, the divine feminine is a woman who emerges from deep within herself. She is a woman who has honestly explored her darkness and learned how to celebrate her light. She is a woman who has learned how to fall in love with the magnificent possibilities within herself. How does that sound to you? How does that make you feel? Nicole?
Well, for me, it's a very truthful statement. When I did my mirror work and I emerged from what I felt like was a cocoon inside of myself. So I think this is, safe to say that this kind of work can absolutely be life-changing.
Yes, absolutely true. That's true. The ultimate goal is to be the empowered divine feminine, and this gives you a roadmap on what that looks like. So Wendy Ann, how does this sound to you?
Oh, I think it's really inspiring, and I think it's important that we, even if we think we know what divine feminine is or how to empower ourselves, sometimes it's not to have someone like you come and show us these words. You're talking about how powerful beliefs and words are. To have those in front of us, to look at it, to really absorb and take it in. So I'm enjoying reading this as a reminder of what we should strive to achieve, where we should be, how far are we from this point to get to this point, so then we can feel whole and complete and secure with ourselves.
Absolutely. Now remember, this isn't a statement of you should do this. This is a choice. This is a choice of saying where I am is stagnant. I don't feel like I'm moving forward, but if I read these words, it gives me inspiration to choose to move forward in a way that respects who I am as a woman and as a person. And it gives me choices on rules that I can follow that will help me move forward in my evolution as an empowered divine feminine, rather than, a woman of the world, because there's so much programming that's in the way now. And so a woman who honestly explores her darkness and learns how to celebrate her light. It's a very powerful statement. So a woman who's learned how to fall in love with the magnificent possibilities within herself. I mean, these statements are very powerful. So anybody else have any thoughts of this on this slide? Okay, so we're getting to the next slide will be about creating safe boundaries. Now, this is really important for women. Creating safe boundaries. How do you empower yourself without inviting conflict? Women hate conflict, especially with men. How do you create safe boundaries around yourself, empower yourself at the same time without inviting conflict? This is a safe boundary lesson. So I'm going to go forward here, and Celeste, would you read this, please? Celeste.
I won't ever change who I am. I won't get angry with you. I won't be spiteful and seek revenge. I will only be smart and change the role you play in my life.
Isn't that wonderful? That is creating safe boundaries without creating conflict. I will only be smart and change the role you play in my life. It's my choice. I don't have to give away my power to anyone. I don't have to shout and yell and scream for my right to be heard. I will simply change the role you play in my life. I will back off. I will be the divine, empowered feminine, and I will not choose to fight like men fight. I will simply honor myself first and choose not to engage other parts of a situation. So I love that slide. So here are some common female scripts that this was given to me by my daughter, who's now 32. She's a crystalline indigo child, the smartest thing on the earth. I love her to bits. She said the following things, that these are things that women experience in life. One is, you can never earn your value. 2, I am in a codependent relationship with everyone in my life. My self-worth is completely dependent on the validation of others. Women are always justifying their feelings. So creating safe boundaries without conflict is something that I have taught women for a few years now, called block and walk. Say no to the limiting rules and abuse you currently believe you have no choice but to endure and receive. So many times in your life, you are subject to abuse or rules that you currently believe you have no choice but to endure and receive. We want to stop that with an act called block and walk, which is an energy exercise. It works. I've used it many, many times, and I'll describe it shortly. There are many patriarchal rules that create potential conflict within yourself and frustrate you as a woman. Block and walk is simply, you put your left hand on your heart. And if you want to do this right now, you can think about the people, the events, the things in your life that are bothering you. And you can take your right hand and just push outwards and say, no, no. Many women who are going through relationship breakups, narcissistic relationships, they can push away this energy so that their body is free from the trauma that these people are bringing to you through a process called block and walk. they can use another process as well. It's called rewrite the rule book. Journaling core programming by intuiting inner child lineage and patriarchal beliefs that you do not want to follow. You cross them out and rewrite the rules in self-love language. For example, my mother controls me, expects me to be her servant. We cross that out and we put a new language in that gets instituted into your body called I make decisions based on respect of me. I love myself infinitely. Belief sources. Now, you've heard me talk a little bit about lineage, inner child, and patriarchal programming. Lineage is the ancestral programming carried on over hundreds of years. You know, my mother did it, my great-grandmother did it, my great-great-grandmother did this, and so the programs get carried on through lineage, through your DNA. One source of programming. Inner child is you download parental beliefs of pain, judgment, suffering, bias, guilt, shame, whatever their programming is, you download it, and later on in life, you may decide that those programs are not the kind of life you want to live, not the lineage you want to carry on to your children, and you choose to change them. Patriarchal beliefs and programs that de-empower women and men that you are not aware of. So the patriarchal system is very insidious because everybody does it, therefore you have to do it. You can say no and say yes to you and follow the rules and rewrite the rules that you want to follow because that's what makes you happy. So here's an inner child exercise. So I want you all to please close your eyes and just breathe in gently, but deeply through your nose and releasing through your mouth. And think about, let your brain completely shut down and let your heart share with you an inner child trauma that is still stuck inside you. Now, these traumas can be very traumatizing, like physical abuse, certainly mental abuse, sexual abuse, that kind of thing. If you have an inner child issue that you want to release, you can do it right now through this inner child exercise. Closing your eyes, breathe gently, breathe in and out, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just give yourself permission to release this trauma stuck to your rib cage and doesn't want to leave. And you can give it permission to release right away. That energy can work its way down your body, down your legs, through your feet and into the earth. Does anybody want to share? All right. Now we're going to learn a little bit about quantum emotional healing.
Well, for me, some of this belief systems around money is, interestingly enough, my life as a child and as an adult has been with and without money.
Yes.
A lot of it.
And so how does that feel?
Say that again.
How does that feel?
It's a little bit mixed.
Yeah. Is it frustrating? Is it,
That'd probably be good, because obviously everybody wants that financial security. And
Right.
that's why any of us get up and go to work.
well, there's also shame involved as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're ashamed if other people have, you know, lots of money and it comes to them easy, you just go, well, why don't I? You know, why am I not good enough? But ultimately, it's an inner child program that you learned, and those feelings are very real to you. And we work with you to help you release all that so that you can believe in yourself and thus create and attract to you more money. Now, thank you, Celeste, for that. Quantum emotional healing. What is quantum emotional healing? What does the quantum emotional healer do and why does it work? How does the quantum emotional healer begin the healing process? We create a safe space for you and balance your nervous system. That's what I do. Then I listen to your story, and I mean listen. I don't try to fix you. I don't try to change your story. I just listen to your story. I pay very close attention to the words and the energy of your story. I'm able to measure the level of resistance and shame you may have around sharing your authentic, honest truth. Your story reveals the source of your unworthiness and fear-based programming. Your story always gives me clues of where to begin the healing process. So what kind of information does your story reveal? Inner child trauma, patriarchal programming, rules that oppress women, self-judgment, self-loathing programs and beliefs, language of fear, unworthiness, struggle. You can talk about your story and you'll de-empower yourself 3 or 4 times in the first 5 minutes, and you won't even know you're doing because you're so familiar with your story. You're so used to saying it. Multiple levels of abuse and imprisoning programming, levels of control, expectation, and burdens that you carry, unworthiness to receive love programming, sublayers of anger, resentment, grieving, shame, guilt, and abandonment, the true depth of your emotional pain and their triggers. So here's one that most women go through. A threat to your well-being and peace of mind, good old-fashioned energy vampires. Do any of you have any energy vampires in your life? Anybody? Is there anybody left out there?
I do have an energy vampire.
I do too. I do too. I think probably a couple, but only one that I'm in contact with most of the time. And that would be my husband. So
Okay, that's interesting. So here's a little trick about energy vampires. Creating safe boundaries without conflict, once again, with energy vampires. So your husband, for example, is an energy vampire in your life. Others have, friends, neighbors, co-workers, bosses, siblings, parents that are sucking the life out of them. How do they make you feel? Well, we know how they make you feel. So this is where the block and walk is highly effective, because what you're doing when you block these people that are energy vampires, and you know they're energy vampires, how do you feel after an energy vampire talks to you for half an hour? How does it make you feel? Anybody want to tell me?
exhausted.
Yes, because it just drains life out of you. You just want to go and have a nap afterwards because they're sucking love away from you and you're giving it to them. You don't even know you're giving it to them because you're trained, as I said earlier in the videos, that you're here to give your love away in the hopes of getting some back. But these energy vampires literally walk around the earth and suck life out of you because they don't know how to love themselves and you don't know how to protect yourselves. So these particular people are very susceptible to the block and walk. So if you put your hand, if you do it right now, start, you put your hand on your heart and you think of them and you say to them, I'm not going to let you suck my energy anymore, and just push them away. Push them away until they're 10, 20 feet away, and then create a shield around. Every time they come to you, their energy will hit that shield and it will bounce off and it will not go into your body. And at the end of talking to them, you won't feel drained, you'll feel fine. So the block and walk is a very important exercise to do when you're trying to release energy vampires. When energy vampires are blocked from energetically sucking the life out of you, eventually they leave your life and you don't have to say a word, not a word. And they will leave because they need that energy. They're called vampires for a reason. And so they'll go somewhere else, somebody who will let them suck the life out of them. So value your energy, value it, and block people that are sucking the life out of you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So this is an interesting slide. The magical healing power of the heart. The heart has magical healing powers. Here's why. The Heart Math Institute in California, so all quantum physicists, they work with heart-brain coherence, and they discovered something really cool. They discovered, Nicole, would you read this, please? Nicole, are you there?
Yes. What did you want me to do?
Read this line, please.
The heart has an magnetic energy field that is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain.
So your heart has an electromagnetic energy field, which is what you use to create your reality, 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. That says a lot in its statement alone. So your heart has the power to heal you. Your heart has the power to easily create a new reality for you. The heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. Which tool would you rather use to create your reality, heart or the brain? So this is an interesting fact. This is a scientific fact. So when you take a picture of your body, you can see that your heart has a magnetic field that is huge. We've never given the heart permission to be our lead creator. We've always been given our brain permission to do the dirty work. And the brain is 3% of your reality, and your heart is 97%. So,
Question,
yes,
say that again. We haven't given our heart permission to do what?
to create our reality. We've always been trying to figure it out with our brain. When you allow the heart and the subconscious mind to work together, you have the combined power that is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain and the subconscious mind to create your reality. So if you allow your heart permission to be your manifester, you have this power of 5,000, which makes the manifestation process much, much, much easier. It makes the healing process much, much easier. And it opens your heart to the world. And what we want to do today is we all tend to close in because we want to protect ourselves. But when you allow your heart to sort of be an influencer, then you can maximize that through this concept that the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. How is your emotional heart health? Now, this is a really important slide. When you think about it, just about everybody has this. Your heart has taken a lot of punishment over your lifetime. It's just a natural occurrence of living in this world. Some parts of your heart have, these despair, betrayal. Betrayal is a big one. Heartache, bitterness, frustration, fear, anger. Women have been taken advantage of in so many ways that they carry a lot of this in their heart. And the next thing you know is when they want to open their heart to heal, there's a great big wall there. There's all these bricks in this wall here. So one of the things the healer has to do is you have to allow the heart to break open bricks and remove them one by one to allow the heart to be at its highest 5,000 times more powerful function so that your healing can be completed in a very simple and easy way. So it also is a factor that everyone has experienced matters of the heart, whether it be pain, loss, betrayal, disrespect, or other painful feelings. As a healer, your heart, if it's blocked, it makes my job very difficult. So one of the things I do is I help you reconnect to the beauty of who you really are, as opposed to the past where you have despair and betrayal and heartache and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of work that's involved in helping you be the best person you can be. Does anybody have any thoughts about emotional heart health? Just feel your heart. Just all of you feel your heart right now and feel what has happened in your life that is still painful. And we'll move on to this slide, which is your heart's desire to receive more love, but it's imperative that your heart be open and free in order for you to enter 5D. And here's a perfect slide picture of a woman who's saying, no, thank you. It's too much pain. I don't want to do that. So clearing past traumas in your heart is important. Can any of you feel what's going on in your heart right now when we talk about this?
I would say from that previous slide,
Yeah,
the betrayal part, and kind of some things are popping up about like not necessarily would have put that in that category
right. Exactly.
or realized that there was a betrayal.
Exactly. That's the one thing about this kind of introspection is that you get a chance to be clear on what is actually going on with your programming or your body or your feelings or your subconscious mind. You get a chance to observe it is a good word. You get a chance to be aware of it and observe it and say, gosh, I didn't know that was there. Maybe I should let it go. And that's very healthy for you, It also helps you create more intuitive awareness of self and sort of be your own medical intuitive. So allowing your heart to be open is work, and it'll only do you good in the long So let's move on to, okay, we're at the last slide. So anybody want to comment on this? Is this a power statement for you or not? I am who I am. Your approval isn't needed. Thank you very much. Here's my 4 books that I wrote. They are available to you for free on PDF. This book on the far left, The Subtle Art of Listening. Now, every one of you, I want you to respond to this because this is something that women have told me happens all the time. And I was one of the guys that fell into this category until my daughter grabbed me by the earlobe and sat me down and said, Dad, I've got some things to say. Dad, I want you to do one thing for me. And I said, what, sweetheart? She said, I want you to shut up and just hear me. Don't say a thing. So I learned from that experience. And then later on, I downloaded all this information in this book. God, did I lose you all? Are you there?
Yes, here.
This book is called The Subtle Art of Listening, Why Hearing a Woman Can Lead to a Deeper Love. This book teaches men how to listen to you and why it's important that you need to be heard. There's a circle in the book that describes what happens to a woman when she's being heard and the man is quiet and just listening and being supportive. So that book is a real good book for women, especially if you have a partner who doesn't hear you very well. The Law of Attraction is a great book to teach you the facts of the Law of Attraction. The subconscious mind is the healing process that you learned a little bit about today. And the conscious energy healing and miracles is all of the quantum science. And there's videos in their YouTube videos from scientists verifying all these facts that I point out. So these books are available to you if you wish. And there's my contact information. Thank you so much for joining me today.